And so we're back at it again, now with part 2 of who knows how many, covering the Mordheim warbands found on Mordheim, section 1A to begin with at least. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few more humans, though slightly more different than the first 5 that we covered. So we're going to start things off with the Witch Hunters. Okay, so the Witch Hunters, one of the first warbands to come to Mordheim. They're in the core rulebook. Also one of the more flavorful ones. A lot of options when you find the right miniatures to paint. They look awesome. There are quite a few differences between these guys and the other mercenary warbands, or Reichlanders, Ostlanders, Marineburgers, etc. that we covered last time. So we're going to go through that. Again, look at the point cost versus what you get. Not going to be bothering too much with the equipment unless it's something new and specific, and take a look at what they have available to them. So we're going to start off with the Witch Hunter Captain, which is basically the same guy as the other mercenary warband had, with a few exceptions. For 60 points, you do get a movement, a weapon skill, and ballistic skill of 4. You have a strength and toughness of 3. You have a 1 wound, 4 initiative, 1 attack, and leadership 8. Now he has the leader, which all the leaders have, but he also has a skill called Burn the Witch. He and all witch hunters hate miniatures or models who can cast spells. So effectively gives you a reroll in close combat. Now for 60 points, I mean, he's not that much different from the other guys that you had in the mercenary warbands, but he has the bonus skill. That sets him a little bit above the others, so he will get a solid B. Then we move on to the Witch Hunters, which will be your minor heroes. You can have 3 of them, and at 25 gold, I feel that they are quite the bargain. Now, their movement, base 4, their ballistic skill and weapon skill is only 3. Strength toughness is 3, wounds 1, 3 initiative, 1 attack, and leadership 7. Now, not very mentally prepared for someone who's hunting witches and deviants, but there you go. They also hate witches, so they'll burn them, stake them, and reroll dice in melee because, well, they just don't like spellcasters. So for 25 points for that stat line, I mean, it's not super good. It is a regular melee or range henchman at 25 points, but you get the bonus skill to take out casters. So for that, a solid B. Then we have our warrior priest. It's a warrior priest of Sigmar, I would argue, but it says warrior priest. You can have 1. He uses the prayers, so not spells. And that also allows him to use armor. So he's allowed to take the same equipment as your regular witch hunters. Now he doesn't hate witches, he just counters them or casts spells to smash their heads in. Go with his maces and armor and whatnot. So for 40 points you get a caster that uses prayers in the same way that a caster or a magician would use spells. So there's no difference, it's just what they're called. You have the same stat line as the Witch Hunters, except he has a leadership of 8. So for 40 points, when we look at his stats and the fact that he can use armor and can become very decent in combat, and his spell list, which we will cover later, I will give the Warrior Priest a solid B+. Then we got one of the things that really sets the warband apart, which is the nuttier than a nuts in a basket flagellants. You can have 5. They have a cost of 40 gold, so they're not cheap. And they have a decent, if not very good stat line for a henchman that starts the game. I mean, bare bones like they most do, but with these stats you can pretty much send them out with nothing and they will still do stuff for you. So for 40 points you get a movement of 4, a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 3, a strength and toughness of 4, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, and leadership 10. Now the leadership, situational if you actually need it, because they will pass all leadership based tests that they need to take. Downside is they can never become a warband leader. Now I don't know why. I don't see that more often, that they actually become heroes, because they can. They just can't become the warband leader. So there's an important thing to remember, because they can level up and they can get Lad's Got Talent, but they can never become your leader. But for 40 points, even though costly, for henchmen that are that good with a toughness and strength of 4, they will get a solid B+. Then we move on to the Zealots. At 20 points, you have a movement of 4, a weapon ballistic skill of 2, a strength and toughness of 3. You have 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack and leadership 7. So not super, but not very bad. At 5 points less than your average warrior. I mean, you do drop 2 stats that they're good to have. I mean, you can usually not hit on a better than a 3 anyway, or worse than a 5, so it doesn't really matter that much. That's only when we get to certain skills or situations. So it's not that bad when you think about it. So they will be your cannon fodder, your tanks, they will be up there and just taking the charge, and you want to counter with some of the better heroes or the flagellants. So for what they do, at 20 gold, I would give them a B. And then we have our first bestial entry, which is Warhounds at 15 gold. Now, important to know about Warhounds, they don't get experience at animals and beasts in general. Don't get experience. There's certain things in the game that they cannot do. I mean, read the rules. I'm not going to go through that. But they are good at moving around quickly, hunt down characters or people hiding in the rear, like archers, crossbowmen, stuff like that, because they are really fast. And there are no slouches in melee. They have a decent strength, at least the warhounds have. That varies on the various types of hounds that you can have, what their stats is. But for this one, you can have 5. They are 15 gold with a movement of 6, weapon skill of 4, so they're really good. Obviously, they don't have any ballistic skill because, well, paws don't work with bows. Strength of 4, so they hit hard. A toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 4, 1 attack, and 5 leadership. Now, not only hunting down people in the back, but also getting them up front and blocking the ability for the other warband to march or move double pace is a really good way to control the board. And I mean, setting yourself up for the situation that you want to be in when your opponent gets to you. So for what they bring at 15 gold, a solid A-. So skills, they don't have any special skills, so no access to that. So they are dependent on using the regular skill tables. And throughout the warband, they will have access to all of them, one way or another. Nothing special to write home about there, so no changes from the regular mercenary warbands. The spell list, however, for the priests is a very good one. So let's take a look at that. So the warrior priest of Sigmar, let's just call him that. His spell list is a very good one, though it is in most cases limited to targeting him, because he has the ability to go from a regular priesty that runs around and proclaiming the words of Sigmar to a melee combat beast. So he has 6 spells. We're going to take a quick look at all of them and take a look at quickly what they do, and also the few spells that he has that actually targets others. Okay, so I'm going to just read through this. So we have the Hammer of Sigmar, 7 to cast, +2 strength in hand-to-hand combat, and every wound becomes 2 instead of 1, and you have to test each shooting phase if you can and want to use the hammer. Heart of Steel, all allies within 8 of the warrior becomes immune to fear and all alone test. In addition, they get to test on a +1 in case they have to rout, which is very, very good. Soulfire. All enemy models, and this is a good one, within 4 inches of him take a strength 3 hit with no armor saves allowed. Now, I know armor is highly debated in the Mordheim community. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, it is bad because armor costs a lot and it doesn't give you that much of a save and it is easily negated. But that is Mordheim. It is a game of scum in a ruined city where they pick up scraps and they use that for armor most of the time. So you're not supposed to be very good at the armor stuff. But this, just in general, just removed the whole issue because you don't get a save against this one. And the fact that it's an AoE, which there aren't many of, for a model that really wants to get into close combat is really good. Shield of Faith. The priest is immune to all spells. Roll at the beginning of each recovery phase. On a roll of 1 or 2, the shield disappears. So you don't have to necessarily recast it, but you might. Healing Hand, which is a very good one later in a campaign or in a tournament event setting. All models within 2 of the priest, including himself, may be healed. The warrior is restored to its full quota of wounds. In addition, all friendly models within 2 that are stunned or knocked down immediately come to their senses and stand up. Oh my god. Later in the game, you have multiple wound models, maybe. You can have hired ogre. You can have things around you that have taken a beating or knocked down. And this just outright, everybody is back to full capacity, which is insanely good. So it's one of the better spells. Naturally, again, you have to get to the later game before it becomes really effective, because to start out with, it will just get your stuff to stand up, which also really isn't bad, because if they don't, they might get killed. So there's that. Last one, Armor of Righteousness. The priest has an armor save of 2+. What was that about armor being bad? But yeah, it replaces his armor save. In addition, he causes fear in his enemies, therefore is immune to fear himself. It lasts until the beginning of his next turn. So a 2+ armor save. Now, I'm not good at math, but 2+ is very good. And if you're starting out, and let's say you face someone who has a strength of 5 because he has a great weapon, and usual strength, or strength 3 is pretty much the usual one. That would be a -2 to his armor save. He will still be on 4, which is really, really, really good. Naturally, you can face stuff that says no armor save, but if you do, you'll know. So you'll have to think about where you want to send him. But again, good spell. Overall, a very, very nice spell list. Very concentrated around the warrior priest himself. That's the Witch Hunters. Now, for a warband that was one of the first ones to come out, it is, in my opinion, also one of the better ones. Unfortunately, we don't see enough of them because I think people sleep on them. I don't know why. I think it might be because, same thing for me. When I played these to begin with, the flagellants is what kept me away from them. But now that I've played them a lot and I have a little bit more experience, I see their value. And I also read the line that says they can't become leaders. It doesn't say they can't become heroes, because they can. And that really increases their value, and it makes them one of the better henchmen that you will find in the game. But Witch Hunter is, in total, they are a good warband. They are beatsticks, and they are one of the better beatsticks you will find, especially when you get the warrior priest up and running. So for all they bring and what they cost, the Witch Hunters are a solid B+. And for warband number 2, we're going to move on to the Sisters of Sigmar. Now, they differ quite a bit from all the other warbands that we covered. Not the only fact that they are all of the fairer gender, all female. But they don't have access to the shooting skills, though they do have access to a very limited selection of ranged weapons. So that and a few other things really sets them apart. So let's take a look. So the Sisters are one of the core warbands that we got in the rulebook when the game first launched. And they are quite different from a lot of the other human warbands that you will find in the 1A through C section. So let's take a look, starting with the matriarch. So she clocks in at 70 points, so she's 10 points more expensive than your regular captain or leader of the warband. She comes in with a stat line of movement, weapon skill, and ballistic skill of 4. She has a strength and toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 4, 1 attack, and leadership 8. So what do you get for those extra 10 points? Well, she's a caster, so she can cast spells or prayers, which also means that she can wear armor while doing so. Other than that, there's nothing special about her. Everyone can use her leadership within 6 inches. But she does have access also, as well as the other heroes have, to the sisters' special skills sets. So for what she brings to the table, for 70 points, the fact that we add the fact that she is a caster as well as a very good melee combatant as the other humans are, or on par with them, I would bring her in at a solid B+. We then move on to the Sister Superiors, which is pretty much your champions or your run-of-the-mill heroes for the warband. Clocking it at 35 points, we have a movement and weapon skill of 4, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness of 3. They have 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 7. Now, there's nothing more special about them than the stat line, their points, and they have access to the skills, as well as some of the new equipment that the Matriarch obviously also have access to. We're going to take a look at that. So, I mean, you want them because they can bring the hurt. They're heroes, so they generate gold and lets you search for stuff. So, for what they bring, they are a solid B. Then we move on to something very different from all the other warbands, which is an augur. Forgot to mention though, the previous Sister Superiors, you can have 3 of those in the warband. I think I forgot. Anyway, the augur is 1, 0 to 1, so you can also go without. Cost a 25 gold only. Stat-wise, she is pretty much the same as a Youngblood, with a movement of 4, weapon skill and ballistic skill 2, strength, toughness of 3, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, and leadership 7. So nothing fancy there. But she has some very nifty special rules. So Blessed Sight, she can reroll any failed characteristic tests, climbing, resisting spells, or any other reason, and any rolls to hit in close combat or shooting, but you must accept the second result. In addition, when they're out searching for Wordstone, if she's not taken out of action, you can roll 2 dice for her in the exploration phase and pick either one as your chosen result, which is awesome. So basically for 25 gold crowns, it's 10 crowns more than your Youngblood, you are getting a whole lot more for your package. Actually 2 extra skill sets, to put it that way, with the reroll characteristic tests and hitting in close combat and ranged, but also the boost to the Wordstone hunting if she doesn't go out of action is really good. So for the 25 points that this lady costs, she clocks in at a solid A-. Sigmarite Sisters. This is your henchman, or one of the 2 henchmen that you have access to. You can have any number of these, and they are your regular run-of-the-mill warrior. With 25 points, they run the same stat line. Movement 4, weapon skill, ballistic skill, and ballistic skill of 3, toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 7. They have access to all the equipment that the sisters can use. Nothing more exciting about them. You will have probably plenty of them unless you really want to save gold crowns and buy the lesser version that we will get into shortly. So for the 25 gold, for what they bring to the table, looking at the rest of the warband as well, they are a solid B. Then we come to the novices. You can have 0 to 10. They cost 15 gold, so yes, they are very cheap and you can have plenty of them. The warband allows you to have 15 in total, I think it was, as a maximum. So for 15 gold, you get a movement of 4, a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2. You have strength and toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 6. So there's a downfall there, as 6 leadership. So they're slightly less usable than the Youngblood, even though he is a champion. These are novices. This is pretty much your throwaways. But at 15 gold crowns, I mean, you can stack your starting warband with all the heroes that you want, and you can make them really good gear-wise, and you can fill up the rest of your warband with these sisters, so that you can get to your preferred point of, now I have to do a route check. They can have the same weapon and equipment as everybody else, so I mean, just giving them a cheap weapon, a shield, you have a 6+ armor save, and you have something to beat someone else up with. I mean, they can tank pretty much as well as anybody else, because they don't get hit on better than 3 anyway. So for what they bring, at 15 points, solid B. So the sisters bring 2 unique new weapons to the game that we will take a look at. Firstly, we have, for 15 points, the Sigmar warhammer, which is a melee weapon. It comes with a +1 strength bonus when used, which is really good. It has concussion and holy. So you have +1 strength. You don't have the two-handed unwieldy strike last thing. So I like it very much. So for the heroes that can use it, they will be bumped to a strength of 4. Now concussion means that you will stun an opponent on a roll to I think 2, 3, and 4 instead of 3 and 4, which is really good. Holy, let's see what it says. +1 bonus to wound against possessed or undead models. And matriarchs and sister superiors may carry 2 of the hammers, so you can dual wield that to get some more attacks in. They have a steel whip at 10 gold. It is a close combat, cannot be parried, and whip crack. Now, cannot be parried, it pretty much goes without saying. You can't parry this attack, no matter how much you want to. So, there you go. Whip crack, this one I like. When the wielder charges, they gain +1 attack for that turn. It's added after modifiers. When the wielder is charged, they get +1 attack that they may use only against the charger. This attack will strike first. If charged by 2 or more opponents, they will still just receive a +1 attack, and that you'll have to choose which one that you want to hit. If the wielder is using 2 whips at the same time, they get +1 attack for additional hand weapon, but you still just get the 1 whip crack. Both these weapons are really good. +1 strength for the hammer, the concussion. Because I mean, if you stun somebody, they're pretty much out of the game, unless of course somebody comes to help them out. So I like that one very much. The steel whip and its variants that are available to other warbands is just fantastic. I love it. The bonus attack for being charged, the bonus attack for charging, the fact that you can dual wield, and at only 10 gold crowns. I mean, yes, it's only strength 3. When they level up, they might get a little bit higher strength, and it turns into just a monstrous good weapon. So for these 2 added weapons, they get a solid A-. So the special skills table for the sisters is very focused, to put it mildly, towards specific opponents. But we'll take a look at it. So first you have a sign of Sigmar. This only works against possessed and undead opponents. They lose their first attack against the priestess or the character that has the skill in first round of hand-to-hand combat, down to a minimum of 1. Very situational. I mean, there are, of course, several possessed models and undead models in the game, but still a very situational skill. Protection of Sigmar. The sister has been blessed by the High Matriarch, and any spell cast against that model is nullified on a d6 roll of a 4+. And any effect that would affect an area within her, as long as she's the target, is also nullified. Again, very situational, though has its uses. If your character is an upfront character and will be targeted by spells and stuff like that, it's good to have. But since magic isn't that dominant in Mordheim, it's less effective than you would really want. It's nice to have, but again, situational. Utter Determination, however, is a very good one. Basically, it lets your matriarch, because she's the only one who can have it, reroll any route tests, which is always good to have. Righteous Fury. Let's see here. Hates all Skaven, undead, and possessed warbands, and all models in those warbands, regardless of whether they are undead or possessed or not. So your opponent's hired swords, your non-undead and the non-warbands, etc. She hates them, which basically lets you re-roll to hit rolls in close combat. Little better than the other ones that were slightly more very focused towards just the possessed or undead. This opens up the field a little more. Still situational, because we are initially covering just a few warbands with this skill. Nice to have, but there are so many other skills that's available to everyone that I would rather take. Lastly, Absolute Faith. Again, I mean, it's situational, but this is usable in more cases. Reroll fear test and does not have to test if she's fighting all alone. Now, this can happen more than often than you would think. Mordheim, at least for us, usually gets stuck into a big melee in the center. But like we do, we try to spread things around by having different objectives and loot spread around the table, or possible loot. I also see other players or game masters, I don't want to call us guys, that set up events and leagues and stuff. They also try to do this to spread the game out a little bit. You will often find yourself in a situation where I am going to go get this, but the other guy has 3 dudes that's also had the same mindset. And then you're stuck 3-on-1. So for us, the way we play it, it's a good skill in either case. For a normal type game where you just play the rules like they are out of the book, it's a little bit more situational, but still useful, because fear and being outnumbered is always a danger. But the skill table as a whole, it's very one-sided and focused towards the hatred of abomination, of undead, Skaven, and possessed, with a few other decent to good skills. I would give the whole skill table as it is a C+. The sisters are a flavorful bunch. They have a lot of minis available, or you have the matriarch and you have the augur, which is really cool, that are not readily available to mimic with other warbands in the game, not through 1A, B, and C at least. It's a different kind of flavor, and you really have to think about what you're doing, since they don't have access to a lot of ranged. So you are a melee-centric warband. I would say that the flavor that they bring and the fact that they fit in the setting, coupled with the stats that we've gone through, the price of the miniatures, etc., I would give the whole warband as a whole a B-. I want them to be better, but they would really benefit from a slight few changes to especially the skills table, to make it a little bit more adaptive for other warbands as well. So we move on to what I think is the last human warband of 1A, and it's the one everyone's been waiting for. Maybe, I don't know. I know we're waiting for it in the old world, crossing our fingers, for Kislev. Now, Kislev brings a whole bunch of new stuff. Unfortunately, for the most part, available just to them, but we'll take a look in either case. First, they have a few special rules, very situational, so not necessarily anything that will break the game, but let's take a look. They may hire, and pretty much that just means that they may hire any hired sword, also available to the mercenaries that we've covered in the first episode. Ancient enemies. This is more regarding multiplayer games. They will not ally with any kind of chaos or bad guy warband. That basically just covered Possessed, Beastman, Skaven, Dark Elf, Chaos, Dwarf, and any other warband the judge, that'll be me, or possibly you, judges to be chaotic. We're going to start off with the captain at 60 points. He is basically the same guy that you will find in your normal mercenaries. So no news on the skill or on the stat front for him. However, he has a special rule called inheritance. Basically, he is the son of a Tsar or some upper-standing citizen of the Kislev Empire. So when you first purchase him, you can also buy any equipment from the warrior equipment list at half the price. This is really nice to have because, I mean, for me, normally, if I want to go out and, say, buy heavy armor, I probably won't do that anyway, because at 50 gold, that's a hefty investment. That's pretty much, at least for some warbands, up to 2 or 3 henchmen. But when you can reduce that to 25, I'll take it, absolutely. Or anything else that might tickle your fancy. So for the 60 gold that he cost with your captain stats and the inheritance, he's getting a solid B+. Then comes the fun stuff. It's a bear tamer! 35 gold for stats that it's supposed to be roughly a champion stats, but it's not. It's a little bit worse on one side. On the other end, it's pretty good. So let's just take a look. 35 points, you get a movement of 4, a weapon skill of 3, a ballistic skill of 3, strength of 4, because he needs to punch that bear around so it'll listen to him, toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 7. Kislevite warrior equipment list is where you buy your stuff. He has a special rule called bear tamer. If it includes a bear tamer, you're allowed to purchase a bear as a henchman. Now, who doesn't want a bear? I mean, it's the reason you play Kislev. The bear's been trained to follow his commands and will automatically pass stupidity tests when within 6 of the bear tamer, even if the tamer has been knocked down or stunned. So 35 points. He doesn't have the bonus to weapon or ballistic stick skill that you see a lot of the other champions or hero champions have, but he has the bonus to strength, and he has the rule that lets you actually have the bear, which is why we're playing this warband to begin with. For that and the flavor, it's an A-. And then we move on to your actual champions that had actual champion stats. The Isols at 35 points. You can have one. You can have one of the bear tamer as well. So pretty much you get 2 of the same. Just switch the stats around and one gives you the bear. So he comes in with the movement of 4, and he has the weapon skill of 4, strength, toughness, and ballistic skill of 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 7. There's nothing more to him than that. He is your run-of-the-mill, above average model for your warband that generates your gold. He is a B. And then you have your youngbloods, or in this case, they are youths. They have the same stat line with the poor weapon skill and ballistic skill, but again, they could be useful for just being in the back, taking pot shots. You don't want them anywhere near something that causes them to take a leadership test because they have leadership 6. So keep them in the back, have them generate gold. I mean, if you're in a crunch, you'd rather want these heroes to die than the other ones, so they can go up and just get smushed. At 15 gold, it doesn't really matter. For what they bring to the table, they're a B. Warriors. Can't seem to get rid of them, can we? They're in every warband. Go figure. So 25 gold, same stat line. They do the exact same thing as everybody else. That's a 25 gold warrior so far. So nothing fancy. They can be equipped with the Kislev warrior equipment list. So for 25 points and what they bring to the table, they're a B. We then move on to the Cossacks. 5-point increase from the warriors at 30 gold. Doesn't say any specific numbers, so you can have unlimited of these. Their stats is the same, but since it's a new type of unit, we'll go through that. So a movement of 4, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness of 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 7. Now, what do you get for those extra 5 points? You get somebody who hates chaos. So the Cossacks are subject to hatred against all forces of chaos. Members of any warband that the players would apply the Ancient Enemies rule to. Now, I would say, of course, this goes for anything on Mordheim that is labeled Chaos, Beastmen, but I mean, I feel like it should extend to anything that actually have a mutation, because that is chaos, at least to me. So I mean, we haven't used Kislev because frankly we don't have the miniatures. Working on it. I would argue that in a setting where you play a campaign, just for the flavor fluff of it, I would say that obviously the Chaos Beastmen Warbands is what they hate, but I would argue that you could also include any single miniature outside of those boxes that also have a mutation. So for 30 points for the additional hatred against chaos, I mean, it's not game changing. It's again situational because there's so many warbands to choose from. So coming across a chaos warband doesn't happen that often. I would give it a B. It's not a downfall that they cost 5 more. It's not a huge upgrade that they have the bonus skill. So they're also going to get stuck at a B. Then we move on to a new unit, the Strelci. They are 0 to 3. They are 25 points. They are a dedicated ranged unit. Now I say that because they are better when you shoot with them with specific gear. Other than that, they are your run-of-the-mill warrior at 25 points. They're new units, so I'm going to go through the stats. So movement of 4, as most do. A ballistic skill, weapon skill, strength and toughness of 3. They have a 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, and leadership 7. Now, what sets them apart is their special rule, gun rest. This requires you to have a halberd and a handgun. Now, I wouldn't buy a Strelci in like game 1, maybe game 2, depending on how good you do. But I would buy the Strelci, up to 3 of them, because they are warriors, so they can handle themselves. But I wouldn't give them both the halberd and the handgun to begin with, because the cost of that, added to the 25 points, they will just go through the roof with how much they cost, and that would probably take up all your allowance for henchmen. So considering, I would just buy them the handgun because you want something ranged, and don't necessarily buy all 3. Buy 1, have some ranged bonuses, because what you want is the bear. You really want the bear. So for what they bring, for the 25 points, if we look at that, and the potential they get for the +1 to hit when they use the handgun with the halberd, again, I would just place them at a B. I mean, they're definitely not bad. I mean, they're a warrior, and they cost the same, and they're just as good in combat, and they can have pretty much the same equipment list. And the bonus that they get from buying all this equipment is good, because ranged is at a disadvantage in what I would call modern Mordheim. But it is very costly. So not a negative, not a huge bonus. They're a B. Then we're at the bear! The huge bear! It's why we play! Oh, God, I love this one. So you can have 0 to 1 trained bear. Go figure. It goes with the 0 to 1 trained bear tamer. He's costly, but he's really good. I love him. And he's so cute. You can make a cuddly bear. 125 gold. He comes with a stat line of movement 6. But he's obviously not going to run that far from his tamer. Weapon skill 3. Oddly enough, ballistic skill 0, so he's not shooting anybody. Strength of 5. Toughness of 5. Only 2 wounds though. So while he is someone that can go in and beat the crap out of something, you don't want him to be too visible. Have him in cover until he gets to where you want to go. Initiative 2, so unless he charges, he's probably going to strike last. 2 attacks and a leadership of 6. He has claws and teeth. Now, he has a half a page of rules, so we're going to have to take a look slowly here. Trained. Doesn't care about the mission or hatred of other warbands. He just does what his trainer does. They are subject to the rules of stupidity if they are outside of 6 of their trainer, so try to keep them inside of that range somehow. They will never use the Warband's leadership for test because, well, they're animals, so they don't get that. Cannot control the bear without a bear tamer. May not be used in a game in which the Warband's bear tamer does not take part. So if you're unlucky enough to have your bear tamer taken out of action and he gets injured and has to miss 1, 2, 3 games, the bear will also not be available to you. Fearsome. Well, he causes fear. He's big. We move on to the bear hug. If the bear hits the same enemy warrior with both of his attacks in the same round of combat, the player may choose to make a single bear hug attack instead of resolving the attacks normally. If this option is chosen, each player must roll a d6 and add his model's strength, bear is 5, to the roll. If the bear's total is higher, the opposing warrior takes a single automatic wound with no armor save allowed. If the enemy warrior's total is higher, the warrior has broken the bear's hold and suffered no damage from the attack. I mean, if you've already hit with 2 attacks, I would rather take those, because as I read it, you have to substitute. You either take the damage roll from that at a strength 5, your opponent is already at -2 armor save, which in best case scenario, let's look at the Warrior Priest of Sigmar, which can rock a 2+, that'll take him down to 4 for 2 saves. Yeah, I'd rather take that. I mean, it's fluff, and it's cool, and naturally you want to do it at some point, because you gotta. It's a bear hug. I like it. It's fun. Fiercely loyal. He loves his guardian and trainer. He will stand often over him to protect him. As long as the bear is not taken out of action during the game, a bear tamer ignores the following results on the inventory table. Sold to the pits, robbed or captured, and ignore equivalent results in the Lustria campaign because they're slightly differently named but do the same. If any of these results are rolled for the bear tamer, he is fully recovered instead because his bear protects him, which is really nice. Because you are dependent on having the bear tamer to have the bear, thus it works really well and it's fluff, and I love it. He's an animal, doesn't gain experience, so this is a common feature with animals and a couple of other miniatures. They're there to either fill up your warband, like in the case of dogs and wolves and stuff like that, and they don't gain experience, so they won't improve. But never forget that all of these animals, especially the weaker ones, they also serve the purpose of chasing down stuff in the back, making the opponent not being able to march, stuff like this. The bear is a different case because he's a frontliner. He wants to beat the living bejeebus out of your opponents. But since he doesn't level, at some point he will start to not be as effective. But if you're looking at a campaign of, I would say, up to 10 games, really, he would be effective because he has a strength and toughness of 5, which is really good. And I mean, it's not like he's unsupported. He will have the rest of the warband with him, but at some point, the rest of the warband can even surpass him with how tough they are. Yes, you can have humans up to toughness 5. There's drugs and poisons and stuff that can happen, so that does happen. And you can also rock a higher or equal strength anyway. It's good, but it doesn't gain experience. So for that, for 125 gold, for what he brings, you can have him in your starting warband and still have a decent sized warband with decent kind of equipment, though he will take up a lot of the points or the gold that you have. I would still bring him just for the flavor and the fear that he will put in your opponents. I will put him at a solid B+. So 2 new equipment comes with the Kislev. One is vodka, which costs 35 plus 2d6, rare 8. They come from a harsh land that is called, I know someone else who's from a harsh land that's called. While it still serves interested people, they don't hurt these guys because they're tough. In game terms, vodka is a one-use items of equipment that a Kislevite hero may give to the warband before the start of the game. Every warrior in the warband gets +1 leadership, so that'll be up to a maximum of 10. for that game. In addition, it's nullifying a Warband must again test against your toughness against the start of the game. So if you decide to drink, you're at +1 leadership for the game for every model. But if you fail your toughness test, which you have to do, you are at -1 initiative because you're slightly tipsy. I do feel like the loss of initiative is a dire consequence thing, while the gain of the leadership for anyone really but their leader is something that I really could do without. It's fluff, and that alone makes it good. But it's not game-changing either way, mainly because the potential loss is worse than your potential gain is good. Bear necklace, or bear claw necklace, 75 gold, plus 3d6, rare 9. Game terms. A warrior wearing a bear claw necklace receives the strength of the wild ferocity of the bear. He becomes subject to frenzy. Now, frenzy in Mordheim is a little bit different than for old world or the old fantasy. There it is, you got to charge and you get +1 attack. Here, and you're immune to psychological effects. Mordheim, you got to charge and you double your attacks. Now this is double the attacks on the profile. So say you have 1 attack and you have 2 weapons, you have 3 attacks. You got 3 attacks because you have extra attack from dual wielding. You have 1 attack on the profile that doubles to 2, which gives you a total of 3. Now, the downside is you have to charge, but again, you can block off your own model if you want to try that. But early on, I would say that I wouldn't use it. I would get it later, also because it's very costly. Because when you have someone that has to charge, they can run away from your warband. They can be kited. I've had that experience a couple of times because I tend to make pretty much superhero torpedoes when I go to Mordheim tournaments, and that is becoming a well-known thing. So people just have cannon fodder and they kite my dude around. But it is also a later stage very good item, because when you have multiple wounds, you have multiple attacks, you maybe have higher toughness, you can pair that with maybe spells or drugs that increase your toughness, you become a torpedo, engine of destruction. It will make him a target, so be aware of that. Bonus for Kislev is that most of the guys, if not all, can wear armor, so you are somewhat protected. The 2 new items that they bring, one being very situational, and I would say that, again, the bonus is not as good as the negative effect you might get. Frenzy necklace, very good, but there are, and it's permanent, there are drugs that does this for you once a game, which cost effective it would not be, and it comes with a potential downside. I would give the entire list of new items a total of a B. It's decent, but it's not game-changing. So, for the Kislevs, they are a very flavorful bunch, and a lot of modeling options that you can go through. When it comes to playing them, and just how well they will progress, early game, I feel that they are better at it than most others, mainly because of the bear and what he has, what he can do. Your leader is top notch. He costs the same as everybody else's, but he has the bonus to the equipment that he can buy, and that alone makes him a good deal better for any situation that you want, really. Either have him in melee or have him at ranged. So the Warband as a whole, I will give them a solid B+, mainly because of the bear, because the bear is awesome. Again, if you have any Kislev Warbands out there, I mean, post them on Facebook, Reddit, shoot me a PM. You'll find me on Facebook and pretty much nowhere else. I really want to see them because we are getting them. I need some inspiration for that. So that's the last one for the day. Hope it was useful for someone, anyone. If I did something right, let me know. If I did something wrong, also let me know, because I mean, even though I've been doing this forever, I don't know everything. This is just my take on stuff. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.
And we want to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Green Stuff World, for all your hobby tools, paints, and accessories needs. Fogel Pens and Creations, a dragon sword of cool woodwork items. And GameMat.eu. Turn your table into a real battlefield with first-class game mats.